All right, everybody, welcome back to Map It Out. Our second episode had a great first episode last week. We're back with episode number 2. That's Alan Roberson. I am Max Preston. We're ready for another week of Map It Out. Let's start with local topics. So we're in the middle of basketball season,
Yes,
high
yes, we
school
are.
basketball
Yeah.
season, and college as well. But last night, I have to admit, really not a whole lot of games going on in the area. Mostly everybody was on the road.
Yeah.
But there was a great local game last night, both girls and boys, Bushland and Dalhart. On
Nice.
the girls' side, Dalhart was ranked 8th, at least by TABC's rankings, in Class 3A. Bushland was not. However, Bushland girls looking really good right now. Honestly,
Yes.
I mean, man, they got several girls that can score it and pass it as well, play defense when they have to. They win that one 51-49. That is one of the most dramatic games I have seen. It's just right down to the last second. You think Bushland was going to pull away a few times, then Dalhart would make a play, get a steal, get a bucket, get right back in it.
Yeah.
Man, but Bushland hangs on to win that one 51-49. So now they're the only undefeated team, I believe, in that district now because they beat Canadian last week and they beat Dalhart. Now they're the only 4-0 team in that district.
That's a pretty interesting district as well. I mean, obviously, as far as, being around here, I've had a little bit more of time with the AISD of it all, the CISD of it all. Seldom we're getting out to some of the more surrounding places in the area. And again, you guys are doing, absolutely amazing work. But,
Thank you.
That district in particular, I've always heard if for nothing else, you're going to get some really, really fun basketball, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the standings of it all. I've heard, to that point, Dalhart girls specifically being that program for years now. I have a really good friend of mine from WT. Shout out to Caitlin. Love you very much. Always been on that side of, because she played there for a couple of years there in Dalhart. That program has always been kind of in the conversation, in that mix, you know what I mean? And on the flip side of that, I've heard of Bushland, always a really fun town, always a really fun athletic department, but a lot of the conversations have been more so how great, of course, obviously Coach Culpepper is as far as volleyball is concerned. Obviously football, that's been self-explanatory over the past couple of years. For myself included, for those who may be, for those who have seen the district, but those who've kind of been like myself thinking about, all right, Bushland, we know they're at least, they're good, but to have a win like that, especially on the girl sides of things, that definitely says something.
Oh, yeah, and, I don't think they get too much love, on the basketball side, and I get it. Sometimes they don't go too deep in the playoffs, but, I mean, man, they play some great games, and they just have athletes, because if you go out there and watch them play basketball at some point, they do have athletes, and they make some good plays. I mean, if you want to, be truthful, maybe Bushland's not a basketball school. Football, volleyball, they do some good things in track as well. Baseball and softball kind of hit or miss sometimes, but they have some great seasons there as well. Basketball, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the outlier, but you get a lot of athletes that come in there. That's kind of the borderline of a school that, you kind of just got athletes playing every sport, right?
And also my favorite thing about high school athletics, a lot of those athletes coming from the football side of things, moving over, to that point.
I mean, you see that at West Plains, and that's a 4A school. So, I mean,
absolutely.
Once you get 3A down, it's kind of like, all right, hey, you're coming to play basketball now, whether you're great or not, And they do have a couple basketball, I could tell basketball kids, but most of it's kind of like football guys just grinding down low in the post, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
But no, on the girls' side, it was a great game. Bushland should be hopping into the rankings after that win. Dalhart, I could tell, they're still a good team. Just kind of made some mistakes, some uncharacteristic mistakes last night in a pretty high stakes game, and a great atmosphere as well. We were joking last night. Corin said Bushland game day was out there. Had kids with the headsets on and suits on the edge of the student section. It was awesome. It was a great game. It was really fun. Cool. The girls' game was good. Boys' game, 47-45 Bushland. So another 2-point game, which was crazy. So 2 really good games. And I mean, the boys' side for Dalhart was good as well. 18-2 coming into that game. They had started district with a win over Childress. Yeah. Bushland started with a loss to Canadian, so they bounced back, beating Dalhart. So a good night for Bushland. I mean, it was a fun night, too, over in Bushland. That was pretty much the only show in town, and it was 2 really good games, really fun to watch. And, I mean, Bushland girls, I think, need a lot more credit than they're getting because that was a great game. They got some shooters. They got some girls that can go down in the post, and they got some dime passers as well, for sure. So, I mean, it was good. Gracie Williams, I believe, man, had several passes last night. I was like, all right, I see you. I see you. So, but, I mean, several girls that can score. The Grice sisters looking good as well. So I mean, yeah, but the Bushland girls deserve more credit. They're probably going to be ranked. We'll see what happens with the Bushland boys. But like you said, just a lot of athletes over there at that level.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
As far as other basketball, like everybody was on the road. A lot of wins. I think Tascosa, Amarillo High win. As far as Canyon goes.
Yeah, one of the other games in town, I was, getting back in from Amarillo, and obviously how packed, Canyon High is on Tuesdays and Fridays. It certainly lived up to it. Again, nothing against Pampa, but it was very much a game or a night in favor of the Eagles and Lady Eagles, to say at least, especially on the girls' side of things. We talked about it, just last week as far as those teams that truly have that type of shot making it to San Antonio, coming back with some hardware. Canyon's always been, at the very least, the top three of those schools. Like, all right, cool. We know they're going to get there. Are they going to come back with something remains to be seen. But if those who may not have seen Lady Eagles basketball, that was one of your first time seeing Lady Eagle basketball. And Pampa is a really fun team to watch as well. That's another fun district to keep up with over these past couple of years as well. You still have that feeling, though, that the Lady Eagles have a feeling as to what it is that their roles are, how they thrive in those roles. Like a lot of those things, from a tangible and intangible thing that I've spoken about, that we've spoken about, you certainly saw that this past Tuesday.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for the Canyon Lady Eagles. I mean, I hope, man, they're going to make a deep playoff run. Decatur's ranked ahead of them in Class 4A right now, so that could be sadly a regional championship game right there. You don't want to see that. You want to see that in the state championship, kind of like we mentioned last week. W2 softball facing UT Tyler. It's kind of the same thing there. But, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, Canyon Lady Eagles playing great basketball. So is Decatur. That's going to be a matchup that we have to cover when it gets to it. It's going to be an exciting one. But, yeah, kind of looking some more. I know next week we're excited about Tascosa Monterey, the girls' side. Monterey beat them at their place the first time. And we were saying, I think Tascosa solidifies themselves as, at least a top 5A team, best team in the area as far as girls go. If they beat Monterey, I would still say they're probably still the best team in the area. But beating Monterey, a team that beat you the first time, coming back and beating them at your place definitely solidifies your spot as the best team in the area. Top 5A team. Just go out and prove yourself. I think this is a big game coming up next Tuesday.
It's certainly going to be a fight from the perimeter sides of things. Obviously, Ambrosia is absolutely amazing. Props to not only the type of work that she's had throughout the season, but even in some of those moments in district matchups where teams are able to find a way to combat how explosive and how shifty she is with the ball. I go back to that PD game not too long ago. Really phenomenal job as far as defending how they were able to try and get into that two-man game, try and get them uncomfortable from the regular two-man game that I'm sure that they've had on far too many occasions. To that point, I would love to see that type of battle in the interior sides of things, as far as getting in position for rebounds, foul trouble, so on and so forth. I've said it many times. I will continue to say it until proven otherwise. Devea Johnson is one of my favorite players at the high school ranks.
Fun to watch.
The way that she's able to, the way she's versatile at her position, she's able to handle the ball, confident in taking it, in most cases making those crazy, 15-plus foot shots, whether it's in the corner, out into the wing, shots getting in, trying to beat the 2-3 zone, so on and so forth. That's going to be a really, really fun matchup to watch. And also kind of going back to the guard play, Ambrosia Cole, absolutely amazing. Emily Sims, absolutely amazing. To see what that could look like, that matchup alone, I believe, is certainly worth the price of admission. But when it comes to the depth, when it comes to the coaching prowess, that's going to be a really, really fun matchup.
Must-see game. We're going to be able to recap it next week.
Oh, yes.
Day after that game, we'll have our third episode of the podcast. Sir. Be sure to watch. But we're on the second episode right now.
Sir.
Moving on. Let's go to, real quick, talk about WT. The women. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, they're simply just incredible this year. Josh Prock doing a great job over there at WT. 2 wins last week, big one over LCU, and then going to MSU is always tough as well.
Absolutely.
Playing them on the road, that's a rivalry game right there. 2 rivalry games really, beating ranked LCU and then MSU as well. They keep the train rolling. Men, sadly, 2 losses. Tough LCU team, and like I said, also tough to play MSU on the road.
That was a very tough one as well. Kind of seeing that finish.
Exactly. Yeah, they had the lead, and they kind of gave it away at the end. So it's really sad. It's kind of 2 different stories for the men and the women last week. But you kind of got to put that behind, because I know Alan, that you have, not so much love for those people over in Portales. I know that you've got a personal connection on that rivalry, obviously playing at WT. In this game for the women and the men, what do you obviously how that rivalry goes. What do you expect as they're playing Eastern New Mexico Thursday?
At the absolute least, I'm expecting the FOB. I believe the game is going to be at home. I'm expecting energy.
It'll be at Portales.
At Portales, pardon me. It's certainly going to be energetic. It is going to be in a respectful way, every bit of the hostile environment that one would think of when it comes to not only conference games. I've said it on numerous times. The LSC is truly one of the premier conferences, not just in Division II, but I believe in all collegiate sports. I could be 1,000% biased in it, but I will certainly stand in it until proven otherwise.
I mean, you look at the rankings up and down, and you'll find at least 3 or 4 both women and men's side ranked. LSC teams. So, it's definitely, it's not just LSC, whatever. It's a tough conference. It sure is.
It is. So, to be out there in Portales, you mean driving through there, one of the, which is funny, the very first game that I played after my redshirt year was in Portales for that wagon wheel game. That was kind of still in whenever they had the games towards the middle, maybe towards the end of the season versus more times than not near the end of the season. And that place, again, football, entirely different from basketball, but the rivalry of it will be the conversations have already been had as far as how important this game is, not just for where they are, whether it's on the Lady Buff sides of things, which, side note, probably my favorite Lady Buffs team that I've seen since I've been here.
I agree.
Going on 10, 11 years now, which is crazy.
I mean, they've got presence outside, inside. They've got defense. I mean, I got to give a shout out to Henley West. Probably one of the best recruits they've gotten in a long time.
Absolutely.
I mean, what a snag. Like I said last week, using that ag program to bring in some of those recruits, man. And that's exactly what they did. And it's great. She's doing a good job. Plenty of other great players on that team. Claire Graham getting Winfrey from UNLV was obviously great. We got help me out a little bit.
Carly Martinbacher.
Carly Martinbacher,
nice,
Kyla Kane sisters. Switching in and out sometimes playing. I mean, you can just go up and down the list. Like so many players that can contribute, whether they're at the end of the bench or whether they're the starters. I mean, because I think I mentioned who was Holly Stalder last week too. I was like, man, I mean, she comes off the bench now, and I think she started a year or two ago. I mean, just everybody plays a role, whether you're playing a lot of minutes or not too many minutes. And everybody can come out and hoop, shoot the ball.
It's one of the bigger intangibles when it comes to not only constructing teams. Well, actually, no, not just that, but really just one of the bigger things when it comes to constructing teams, to have those defined roles. You need somebody who is the clear. We need this person to be the ball handler, to be the conductor, the floor general, every bit of that. We need somebody who is that slasher, who is willing to put their head down. Worst case, she gets to the free throw line. That's where you get your bread and butter. You need that interior presence. Nowadays, with this level of basketball, you need that interior presence that can also spread the floor. Again, Henley West, as near perfect as you can possibly ask for as of where we are right now. I mean? Like you have so many of those
big
boxes
that can spread the floor.
Yes, you have so many of those boxes checked off with great coaching at the top with Coach Proc, Coach Sherman, Coach Monreal. You have so much depth and so much talent around you that I think in a lot of moments, in a lot of team instances, you're able to have those things in place, but not really know how to close out games. Because again, with all this talent here, it's someone needs to have the ball, someone needs to make the play, so on and so forth. Everyone just from the outside looking in has that clear, hey, we have this in place. We have this play. We have this play drawn up for Zoe McBroom in the corner. We have this play drawn up for Claire. We have this play drawn up for Tatum Bell, who's also been phenomenal. And again, that local town, always great to see here. With still staying here at WT.
And that's another name. I mean, Tatum Bell, coming off the bench. Her and Jada Graves at Emerald High were so fun to watch, and they were superstars. And it's not to say that she's not contributing, but I mean, she's coming off the bench. Really, if you're coming off the bench and you're that caliber of player, that just speaks to what kind of team they have. 1,000%. And I mean, she could definitely start probably, depending on the game plan. It's just up and down that roster plays, whether they're starter or not. And I mean, they're in all these games that have been blowouts so far. And so the end of the bench is getting in the game, and we've asked Proc about it. And he's like, it's great because you never know when you're going to get injury, when you're going to need to give a kid a rest. Everybody's playing, so it's awesome to see, and that's really important to have as a team when you get everybody on the team experience. But coming in this game, the men on the eastern side are ranked 24th right now. I believe it could have changed, but last I saw they were ranked 24th. having a good season. Women as well, they aren't ranked, but they're 8-1 in conference right now, 12-5 overall. So, like you said, hostile environment most likely. I expect a great game in this one. Again, I believe it's the women at 6:30 in Portales, and the men after 8:30 or whatever time it might be. So. Looking forward to that game. Hopefully, maybe we can pull some highlights or something. We'll see what happens. But when I believe when they come, I'm not sure when they come back. Maybe 2 weeks to the FUB.
They do
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I wish we could get that first matchup here at home, but it's gonna be in Portales. But hey, that second one will be great when we come home. Or when they come to the FUB. But man, looking forward to that matchup, and looking forward to seeing how the season just plays out as a whole.
It's going to be absolutely fun. I mean, to say that I hope both the Buffs and Lady Buffs smoke that school out of Portales. I mean, it's, I'm just saying. You know, no. I get it. I'm just saying. Like that was the graduate, the alum in me talking a little bit as far as the broadcast and the impartial sides of things. And truly, in all seriousness, Eastern is a really, really fun program. I mean, they have a lot of things going for them. I am genuinely very excited to see what they're going to do going into 2026. I know we'll have a lot of things to get into once we get done with spring football and all that, getting ready for the next Wagon Wheel game. But again, it's always great when both teams, both of which have been staples as far as going back to how great the LSC conference is as a whole, with all the different turns and all the different teams moving elsewhere, so on and so forth, to still have the Midwesterns of the world, the Angelo States of the world, the WTs, the list goes on and on. Those teams that I've seen and I've associated with the LSC since I moved up here, it's always great to still have them still be very talented and still really, really fun to watch. So it's going to be a really fun matchup. I'm excited for the matchup. But yes, I would very much love to see WT smoke the absolute boots off of Eastern New Mexico. I was really getting ready to say something. I was gonna be a little too crazy there, but it'll be a fun game. I certainly would like to think that WT is able to handle their business. And whether it's an ugly game or whether it's by 20, they've been able to get it done throughout the season. A couple of hiccups along the way. I would certainly like to think that this Thursday will be no different in favor of the Buffs.
No stranger to the rivalry over here. I'm going to plead the fifth on who I'm rooting for. I just want everybody to have fun, you know what I mean? I want everybody to be nice. It's going to be two great matchups over there in Portales. Cannot wait for that one. And I think, really that could be a game where whoever wins, has momentum to finish out the season even stronger. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But this is going to be a big game in Portales on both sides. Can't wait to see the outcome. We'll probably have highlights, scores, or whatever tomorrow. So can't wait for that one. But anyway, that's our local portion of the show. We're going to move on to some national topics here real quick. We got Natty recap. We got divisional round and looking forward to the AFC and NFC championship. And the UFC is back this weekend, baby. I love me some UFC. I'm going to teach Alan a little more about the UFC. I can't wait. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We got Patty Pimblett fighting this week. Justin Gaethje. Going to be a fun one. So stick with us. This is Map It Out. We'll be right back. All right, we are back on Map It Out, our second episode. Having fun so far. Talked about local already. Now let's get into national topics. How about the Natty on Monday night? And listen, here's the thing. First of all, like I said last week, props to Miami. Yes. 100%. Yeah. The committee hit on Miami, and they made it to the national championship. And even when we got to the national championship, after what they had done, people, including myself, said this is where it ends. Mm-hmm. And I think the line is correct, which, by the way, it was not. They covered. Man. They definitely covered. Yes, they did cover everybody. So the thing is, that was a great game. Miami, every bit as advertised. Obviously, Indiana, every bit as advertised. But you kind of expected after what Indiana did, they were gonna smoke them, but they did not. And Miami had every chance on that last drive to get down the field, score a touchdown. Sadly, got an interception on that, and it was a pretty rough play. But still, props to Miami. However, Indiana puts together a LSU kind of type season with having the Heisman, going undefeated. Lots of great players on that team. Heisman Doza, and
what a
Signetti,
run.
Man. We love Signetti, right?
What a run on that fourth down. Mendoza was – I'll be completely honest. I, even going into that game, was telling myself – and I was watching a lot of reactions and recaps and things like that afterwards, and Josh Pate, I think, said it near perfectly talking about it. We've been so accustomed to how things have been that doesn't mean that that's how things will be. Like for a basketball school in Indiana, which is still every bit of that storied type of basketball school. If anything, now things are even
always
slightly
been a
level.
program,
Always have been. But for them to have made the strides that they have made in this 2-year span of Kirk Cignetti, which further speaks to Kirk Cignetti, I think if there was ever any question of the best college football coach.
Yeah.
And you can talk about the NIL, you can talk about the Big Ten. Like there have been a lot of conversations of how the NIL and transfer portal further benefit the Big Ten versus other Power 4 conferences. That can be a whole different conversation we can have later on down the line. But simply put, they have taken advantage of what the landscape is. They've brought in their guys, and it's not as if they took advantage of it in the sense that you're bringing in the number 1 or number 5, top transfer prospects at a time. You know what I mean?
Well, you saw the graphic. I think it was like how many 4 or 5 stars did each Final Four team had.
Yeah.
And Miami had several. I believe Oregon had several. Ole Miss had several. And you talk about Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah.
I think it was like maybe 1 or 2 for Indiana.
Exactly.
4 or 5 star athletes.
Exactly.
And their numbers of like the stars of recruits were just significantly lower than everybody else.
Yep.
However, still number 1, still 16-0, had the Heisman, won the national championship. This doesn't really the way they're not similar to LSU is the fact that this was a team.
Yes.
This was a team 1,000% that just played together, loved each other. Cignetti led them the right way, and that's just really all there is to say about it. Not hard work beats talent. It wasn't a bunch of talent. It was a bunch of hard work. 4 or 5 star guys. Nope. We got hard work. That's what we got.
Now, what I will also say, and as someone who watched the national runner-up come into College Station and, albeit in a very ugly effort, smoke the boots off of Texas A&M.
Here's the thing. We thought that was an ugly game. Maybe that was just 2 good teams going at it. Is that? I don't think that's a hot take, really.
No, definitely not a hot take as to how the game ended this past Monday. However, only speaking for myself, thoughts, views, and opinions of Allen Robertson, of that of the person. I was never that high on Carson Beck. With the utmost of respect, and I know Carson Beck is going to have a solid career, and I know, again, as someone who saw Carson Beck come into Kyle Field and handle business against my favorite team, a team with a defense who at the very least was in the top 10 of just collective defenses, despite how terrible the run defense was. And we certainly saw how terrible the run defense was towards the end of this past regular season. Miami was a really, really great team. They had so much talent, so much, like, every bit of that swagger was back for the University of Miami.
Yeah.
But the thing that was to their downfall was, again, only speaking for myself, was the thing that a lot of people were saying, hey, this is going to be the reason. This is the turning point, because you have a solid quarterback who came in, different situation with Kirby Smart in Georgia and the SEC of it all. But look, I was never looking at Carson Beck as this is somebody who's going to win the Heisman Trophy winner. This is somebody who's going to put up X amount of crazy stats and things of that nature. Not to say that he's a bad quarterback, but the conversation versus what we saw, I think, not 9-day difference, but a difference nonetheless.
A lot of Carson Beck haters out there. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. What he does off the field, I get it. Look, I'm a Christian man. I love the Lord, and I'm gonna try to live my best that way.
That's all we can do.
I can, at the end of the day, as an adult, I can't tell you what to do off the field. When I'm watching your game on the field, I think he was very poised and he was very calm. He didn't freak out in the other games, and he still almost had a chance. I just got to say, Carson Beck did what he had to do, except for the interception, obviously, at the end of the game there. But I was supporting Carson Beck. I was a big fan of what he did. And the only thing I wish was different is that he got to play Georgia. That would have been awesome.
That would have been fun.
But he was still in the national championship game. Yeah. And guess who wasn't? Georgia was not in the national championship game. And look, and I don't hate Georgia either. I don't really hate the Bulldogs. I'm just saying it was great to see Carson Beck do what he did. And he just looked so calm in those games. He looked great, and he did what he had to do. He maybe wasn't a superstar, but, I mean, you just watch him in the pocket on some of those drives, and you're just like, man.
He looked good. He looked good
he's good
for how young Malachi Tony is. He will be firmly in that coverage. Like the way that we all know he's going to be one of the cover athletes for college football 27 here in a couple of months. I mean, it feels like it's just right there. Like he's very charismatic, very electric, very explosive with the ball. Really, really fun to see.
Forgive me if I'm wrong. Malachi Tony, what, about 6 foot or maybe a little less?
I'd say
5'10", 5'11"?
I'd say 6 foot might be. I think that might be the cap for sure.
And you know, not extremely huge, but like man, super fast.
Very.
You could see him being kind of an Xavier Worthy type of guy, type of guy, maybe a little bigger.
Yeah.
But man, he's going to play a quick slot role. I think in the NFL. Oh my goodness,
that's the name of the game nowadays.
He's going to be
Oh,
great. I think he needs a lot of credit. And some of the catches that he made,
it was incredible.
My goodness, that guy's an athlete. I got to say, so in the game for Indiana, you know, kind of back and forth initially, but I think that punt block for a touchdown was the huge momentum swing. Even though Miami still hung on in the game, punt block for a touchdown was huge. And then, man, the Heisman Dozer run that you will never forget. Any Indiana fan will never forget. If you're a true sports fan and you watch that game, you'll never forget it. But you know what? You know what Cignetti's reaction to each of those plays was?
The true embodiment of a stoic. He just sitting there, he's just processing it, just waiting to get back. Like he is every bit of the psychotic Saban disciple.
I mean,
it makes sense.
It was the best thing to see all year. Just like you said, stoic and just never bothered.
Not close.
And you don't want to be bothered. Like you never want to let emotions get the best of you. If emotions not getting the best of you was a person, Curt Cignetti. I mean, Indiana should be so happy that they have a coach like that. And like I said, the talent, not really there.
Yeah.
Team, hard work, absolutely there. The 4-star, 5-star ranking can mean nothing at the end of the day if you are not working hard. And Cignetti did exactly that. I was just awesome to watch him as a coach.
And so the conversation now, if anything, that can move into our map at our question of the week.
Yep.
We're now in the off season. We're now getting ready for, and we've already heard and have seen quite a bit of things leading up to this past Monday for the championship. A lot of the transfers, a lot of those big announcements. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm an A&M guy, those who don't know, to say that I threw every bit of a hissy fit when Cam Coleman signed with the University of Texas is putting it very lightly. Like, yes, I know Mario Craver's nice.
Let us know what you got.
No, man, look, man, the things that I want to say, this will be my last time on this podcast. The things that I wanted to say.
I'll bring you back, bro.
No, which and I appreciate it very much.
Maybe we can go outside my TV station and just say how we really feel. No,
but the thing with those moves, and again, getting into this question of the week here, there are a lot of those guys and a lot of the guys who very much warrant that type of breaking news, all caps headlines.
Sure.
Those are the guys good for it. Very much we want to be surprised if and when we see these boys and these girls, we can get to the basketball sides of things, play at the professional level.
And there's smaller stories too, though, in like the signing with and doing that, and kind of like that go under the rug, and like that we got to talk about that too. So
very much.
You're like you said, map it out. Question of the week.
Yes.
What are we fixing this week? How do we fix the portal? The portal, in my opinion, has gotten absolutely insane. Look, I have no problem with NIL.
Yeah.
I think when they initially said, you know, we're gonna move towards where athletes can profit off their name, image, and likeness, perfect, great. Because a lot of the players, they get more recognition sometimes than some of the pros. You know what I mean? So I think, absolutely, make your bag. However, the portal has just made NIL and college athletics into basically pro sports at this point. Like it's free agency and you're signing deals in college, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think like if you do want to transfer, that's great because sometimes you just go to a school and it's just simply just not a good fit. So number one, transfer at most 2 times in your career. I think once.
Okay.
Once. But some people say twice. Corin even said, hey, I think twice at most is good. I'll allow 2. I think once, and you're done. You cannot go to 4 or 5 different schools. That's just ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It's really weird.
It's just crazy. I think you should be allowed 1 transfer, maybe 2.
Okay. I like that. Does that mean does that change at all from from any type of weird circumstance going from D1 to D2, like moving the classifications? Does that change at all?
Rules in place, like if it is just an absolutely crazy circumstance or just a very necessary circumstance, sure, move them on. But you got to have like proof. You got to have just like this happened. Like it's right there in front of you. Like no, like oh well, coach not playing me. Well, sorry, like you picked the school at the end of the day. They convinced you to come.
Yeah, so. Like no one bats an eye when it comes to the medical redshirt of it all, because I mean obviously medical, like you have to have something in order to even get the medical redshirt to begin with. Like playing time or lack thereof, or better yet, I believe that the promises that are made from a coach, like saying, hey, we're going to get you X amount of dollars here, we're going to get you playing time here. Like I forget the player, I believe it was with UNLV football or basketball over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
dude signed maybe a month into the season saying, hey, he's stepping away from the team because he didn't get or reportedly didn't receive the things that were promised to him by the coaching. I think that clear level of miscommunication or just full negligence, if we can go that far as well, that could also be brought into the, hey, clearly this wasn't really a situation that was fit for this person's best interest, despite what was said. Again, this is all reported. I don't know the full details as to what actually happened in that situation, but I do believe that there are more of those situations than people let on.
Definitely. 100%. I'm going to list out just like 3 reasons. You give me 3 reasons as well. We're running out of time. You know, we're on a time crunch today. We're busy and everything, but we're gonna map this out. So I think, you know, like I said, 1, you know, at maximum 2 transfers. I think 1. But 2, I think at the most. 2. When were we giving players money? This was supposed to just be like an advertisement thing. Like maybe you're on TV doing a commercial, or just maybe, I mean, whatever it is, getting deals outside of school. When were we starting to pay players from the school? That's really not what I signed up for either. You know, I want, like, you know, them to not be able to transfer much, not be able to pay the player. Like that should be for the pros, the organization paying the player,
or
because
should be like
that's your profession.
Yeah,
college, it's not necessarily your profession. So I mean, when they started paying players from the school, it's kind of like I don't know. But number 3, also schools shouldn't be able to force players to transfer. I saw an instance with the Kansas State kid that they basically released him, and he's forced to transfer to another school. So I think for me, minimum transfers.
Yeah.
School shouldn't be paying the player to play, and then the school also shouldn't be allowed to just release. I think NIL needs to be paying, you know, NIL needs to be commercials or just, you know, profiting outside of the football field.
Yeah.
And also the portal just needs to be very limited. And there should be a good reason to transfer as well, not just like, well, I'm gonna go to another school. Yeah. That's basically what I think. What do you think?
I don't mind that at all, because I mean, when you look at some of those athletes that are going to go to the next level, who you know are going to have those looks on Saturdays, Sundays, whatever the case may be, not often, if at all, are those athletes transferring more than 2 times. I mean, like if Jalen Hurts transferred from Alabama to OU and then transferred to like Texas Tech, I mean, sure, could Jalen Hurts still have been Jalen Hurts? Sure, maybe. But I think there's still that level of, if you are going to transfer, keep some level of continuity instead of, you know, not to throw this guy under the bus, but I've seen Malachi Nelson's name on far too many occasions, and not many of them have been their actual play on the field. It's been transferring from USC to Boise State, transferring from Boise State to UTEP. I forget where he's transferring now, but like those types of things, not the best of ideas. And if anything, if you are trying to be a professional, that is going to taper off some of those expectations or the conversation around, is this guy actually worth it? Because there will be that perception of, the second the going gets tough, if you're in a quarterback competition, or if you're whatever those types of minuscule issues are, you're immediately throwing it in and trying to find the next possible destination for you. That should not be, and obviously isn't the way that pro sports should be ran. But there are some outliers to it. But I do agree with the basis of what you've been saying.
So your bullet points, what do you think?
No, I'm all for the minimum transfers, two at the very most. The paying from the schools, I think if anything there should be a cap to it. I think
at least a cap, right?
Yeah, at the very least keep that level of cap of, we understand, you know, the quarterback is going to be seen in a bigger light than, you know, a redshirt offensive lineman or whatever the case may be. But there should still be that level of everyone still is on this base level playing field if you're going to play here. What you do with that time outside of here with your brand, because if you're all in that mindset of being a brand, that's on y'all. That's the work that y'all got to do. Present what that thing is to us, approve it, whatever the case. Go on, do what you got to do. There should be more steps at least into what the NIL looks like. In that regard. And the third one, I forgot what you had said as far as the third one was
being released.
Yeah, that's absolutely stupid. Yeah. That is absolutely not stupid, but it's very weird that those things happen and those things exist in this college landscape. But unfortunately, this is the college landscape. I'm all for college athletes getting paid, but I've said it on a couple of different occasions. Things will get exponentially worse before they get slightly better. And I think we're starting to get into that level, that moment of things are looking very, very bad. I do think there's going to be some regulations over the next couple of years.
It's getting into chaos, and it just needs to be controlled. Like I said, you need to have a reason, and then you need to find the school that you actually like, minimum transfers, and the money needs to at least have a cap, and we need to watch out on just actually 100%. Paying players from the school.
100%.
So there you go. We fixed it. I think we fixed it.
Will
they listen? I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, whatever.
I like it. I do like it a lot.
Speaking of football, man, it was another great week, divisional. Maybe games not as good. There were two in my mind that were really good. Obviously, Bills and Broncos. Oh, my goodness. What a game.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that was a battle. And, it makes me feel so much better last week talking about the Broncos and picking them. And I was like, I got to go with the Broncos just because, when does the luck run out for the Bills, really? And that's what it's been every postseason for them with Josh Allen. And they fired Sean McDermott. He's gone. Are we going to see change there? That's the topic for another day when the next season comes, probably. But at the end of the day, Bills going home again. Broncos doing some great things this year. But Bo Nix hurt in the game. Jared Stidham is now going to be the quarterback. So that's what we saw in that game, which is crazy. And we'll definitely get into our picks and what we think about the Patriots and the Broncos here in a second. Your thoughts, quick thoughts from that game?
Ooh, I will say this, and I will at some point get into a little bit more of this, but I think my biggest takeaway from the Bills and Broncos game is that the epicenter of good quarterback play still resides in Kansas City, Missouri, or at the time being Kansas City, Missouri. I mean, things could be moved around. I think there were some conversations of relocating to Kansas State proper, so we'll see how that goes.
Two teams that took a break this year and will be right back next year, the Baltimore Ravens
1,000%.
And the Kansas City Chiefs.
And I don't know who has said this. I'm sure somebody has, but if not, I will 1,000% lay claim to this take that I'm getting ready to say. Josh Allen had his moment to be Hakeem Olajuwon and could not end up even being Patrick Ewing.
I said it to somebody the other day, too. I was like, if it was going to be any year, it was going to be this year. And who knows? Maybe he'll have another shot like this. Maybe he'll just finally beat.
Yeah.
I don't know who's got to beat Lamar, Patrick, Joe, whoever it's going to be.
Jordan is out. Jordan is out. The Chiefs are terrible, and he tore his ACL. The Ravens were injured from the very get-go of the season. Derrick Henry had fumbling issues, and then he was able to right the ship, so on and so forth. Herbert got eliminated first weekend. Burrow, he is the unfortunate poster quarterback of just not being available enough, despite him being probably a top 2 quarterback if he is healthy. You certainly have a top 3, top 5 offense if everybody is in place and hopefully figure something out with that offensive line. But everything was in favor of Josh Allen to have his Hakeem Olajuwon.
Even though they were the 6th seed. Like they still had the most experience, and they still found a way to get in, and that it should have been really their thing. And final thought from that game, Josh Allen did what he had a decent game. They had 5 turnovers for one thing. That was the huge deal in that game. They still almost made it happen, and he still almost made the plays that they needed to make to win the game. The fumble before halftime was the most uncharacteristic thing. I don't even know what I saw on that play for him to just kind of really loose with the ball and put him right in field goal range. Who knows if that play doesn't happen? Maybe they win.
You know what I saw? I saw that first playoff game that he had against the Houston Texans in Energy Stadium. And similar thing, solid plays. Did not usurp the absolute what in the entire heck are you doing plays on the field. And that is the thing that is with Josh Allen now. That's the conversation of, can he still be a guy that can win a Super Bowl? Absolutely. Is he still a guy that can win another couple of MVPs? Absolutely.
Yep.
But the one time where we need you to not mess this up or not try and play hero ball the way that everyone wants you to be the hero, and you're not able to get it done, like, again, and I think he knows that.
Yeah.
You just see what they're able to do as far as bouncing back from that moment moving forward.
For
but
sure. As
a Lamar Jackson fan, to say that I didn't have a smile on my face seeing the last interception, I would be lying to you, to be completely honest. And like, this isn't a Lamar versus Josh Allen segment, at least not right now. But last thing that I will say on that game, that interception, the Brandon Cooks catch that turned into an interception, 1,000,000,000,000% an interception. I remember that Lions game.
I say so too. Yeah.
That Calvin Johnson catch that he didn't fully survive the ground. Don't get me started on the Des Bryant of it all. If you don't survive the ground, or in this case, in literal one swoop, you're on the ground and McMillan comes up with the interception, that's an interception. I don't know what this conversation is of he was down in this exact moment, and if you have this picture-perfect moment, then, Buffalo's moving downfield, whatever the case may be. That is not how this works. when has football ever been on that side of thinking? And if we want to go full tinfoil hat, if he wants to go full, well, they're doing this for the Chiefs or whatever the case may be, again, not to say that this is the true thought, but if we are going to subscribe to this belief, do you really think that we're going to put all of these things in place for a team who has never been to the Super Bowl, has not won a Super Bowl? If anything, the last time they've been to the Super Bowl got bounced out by your Dallas Cowboys, for crying out loud. Like, if we're going to do this, if we're going to subscribe to that way of thinking, then the Baltimore Ravens would be in the playoffs right now. Then the Chiefs would have a better chance to at least make a shot at the wild card. Like,
for sure.
If we're on that side of thinking, I just don't think that we should be putting all of the eggs into the basket of Josh Allen and the Bills of being the Chiefs stopper. So as of right now, it's still the Chiefs. It's still Pat as far as how we view the hierarchy of quarterbacks, and we're still trying to figure out who that second place is, who that second person is. Right now, that is not Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, that a lot of speaking points in that game, and there were several other ones as well. We had the Seahawks and 49ers. We kind of saw what we expected.
Seahawks
a lot of
really
injuries,
good.
49ers.
Seahawks look really
They're moving on. Patriots 28-16. I mean, C.J. Stroud, if you're going to play like that, obviously that's going to be the result. And it still wasn't even that bad of a score. 4 interceptions, 28-16 Patriots. Moving on. They most likely, we'll get into that in a second, most likely going to be back in the Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. And then Rams and Bears, 20-17. I just got to say, Bears had every chance to win in overtime and throw the interception, and the Rams pull it the heck out. And
really fun.
I don't know if I was really upset about that. I just I was happy for the Bears franchise and the fans, and
definitely.
And the Rams ended up pulling it out. I'm happy for Matthew Stafford, and I hope maybe he can somehow get into the ring. He's got to get past the Seahawks, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yes.
But man, what a great game that was as well.
What a good
weekend. Ended it well. Kind of started well. Games in between, not so great, and then ended it well with the Rams and Bears. But all right, moving on. We just got a real quick talking point here.
Yes, sir.
UFC is back.
Can't
wait for some fights, man.
I like this.
So
this main event in particular, I am very, very excited.
Yeah, UFC 324, first fight since somewhere midweek or mid-December of 2025. Main fight, we'll get into a few other fights kind of in the next block. But main fight, Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. Paddy the Batty, baby.
Yes, sir.
And so that's going to be a great fight. It's going to be for the interim lightweight title. Ilya Topuria is the champ right now. I believe he's just kind of taking some time off. Might have had an injury, but he's going to probably fight the winner of this fight. And in a perfect world, he's also fighting Islam Makhachev, who was also in lightweight, but now he's in welterweight.
Yeah.
They're the two pound-for-pound top 2 fighters right now.
Islam is really fun.
Need to see those two fight, but I will like to see Topuria fight Gaethje and Pimblett as well. If Pimblett wins it, man, that's going to be a fun fight. Topuria. Not to say Gaethje's not going to be fun. He's just getting a little older, might be getting past his prime, but man, that dude can still scrap, and I love to watch him. But we'll get into our picks here in a second.
Yes.
What, you have a quick thought?
Well, I think that we can save it for the actual picks, because I do think that this could be, and look, I'm more than willing to being wrong. Could be one of those fights that we could see go the distance, despite the things that have been
and be a slugfest
against
at the same time.
Justin Gaethje. Like, Justin Gaethje is no slouch by any stretch of the imagination.
That is a bad man right there.
1,000%. So yeah, we'll get to those picks in just a little bit, but I'm very excited for that.
And one quick note: Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison were supposed to fight. Sadly, had neck surgery. Kayla Harrison fight hopefully is going to be scheduled at some other point, so we'll see what happens. But man, that was going to be such a good fight. And then when I saw the news, I was like, oh man, that's just sad. That was going to be probably one of the best fights of all time in the women's section.
Amanda Nunes, she is every bit.
She
like
can
that.
scrap 100%.
Yes, the greatest.
All right, when we come back, we'll have our last segment. We'll be talking odds, and we'll be talking a little bit about fantasy. And we got a funny question for you today. Be sure to stick with us. This is Map It Out. All right, welcome back to Map It Out. This is where we talk about odds and fantasy in this section. Also, we got a fun question for you at the end. Let's get right into it. NFL championship odds. Last I saw, 5.5 Pats are the favorites over the Broncos, and then we got 2.5 Hawks over the Rams. So starting with the Pats and Broncos, here's the thing. The Denver Broncos defense is phenomenal, right? Yes. They were banged up a little bit against the Bills, and you saw Pat Surtain go down. But I mean, this defense is great, and I think they played against an offense that's still great, even though they fell short, they lost. Yeah. That Bills offense is phenomenal. I'm not saying the Pats offense is not phenomenal. I don't think they're Josh Allen, and I don't think they're. I mean, you can say what you want about the Bills in the playoffs. They've performed well enough. I think the offense before the defense maybe falls short. Yeah. Josh Allen's Josh Allen. Drake May could be up for MVP. Yes. However, still a rookie. Not rookie. Sorry, he had his rookie season last year. However, he's still, I guess you could say a rookie in the postseason. Yeah. He's, he might be a little shaky. We'll see. Who knows? And especially when you got to go play in Denver, we got to put the Jarrett Stidham stuff aside for a second. I just think, again, Drake May, no experience in the playoffs, and they played a Chargers team that was very depleted as well. I will still take the Patriots to win the game just because Stidham's got to enter in a very, tough time. However, I can see the Broncos covering. I'll take the plus 5.5. Patriots win. Drake May finds a way. Their defense finds a way. Broncos defense can't do enough, and Stidham falls short. I'm excited to see how Stidham plays. We'll see what happens, but I'll take plus 5.5. However, Patriots are still winning. Yeah,
I like that. I mean, I will say I have heard I've heard more Jarrett Stidham talk in the past 24 to 48 hours than I have in the past half decade of my life, to say the absolute least, and all of which have been positive things as far as Jarrett Stidham at the very least can hold down the fort. Like Bo Nix, of course, the starting quarterback, and if anything else, I've been very much a skeptic, for lack of a better word, as far as Bo Nix, but this season exceeded every expectation that I had for the Denver Broncos, especially on the offensive side. They will be just fine, I think, moving forward. When it comes to this game, I think Mike Vrabel will draw up every single conceivable crazy hybrid defense, all types of crazy blitzes. This is the makings of the game of we really need to see if this backup quarterback is like that. Like on a scale of 1 to 10 on the Nick Foles meter, I would probably say I'm at a solid maybe, as of right now at least, a good maybe 4 as far as the likelihood
so there's
of
a chance. There's a chance.
There is a chance, but if it's a matter of Stidham has 150 completion percentage of maybe 52 around that range, a touchdown, 2 picks by the time the second half starts, I wouldn't be that surprised. Yeah. I also wouldn't be that surprised if it's still a close game despite those stats because of 100%. How great this defense is, even in the absence of a Pat Surtain, of course, going down. Hopefully it's nothing. We'll see. We'll see how things are going. But I will say the Pats will win. Pats, I say Pats, but Broncos will cover. I think so as well.
Yeah, the Pat who covers?
Broncos cover.
Broncos cover.
Broncos
okay,
cover. I think so.
I like it. So we're on the same page on that. That's how I see it. I think it'll be a better game than everybody thinks it'll be. Would I be shocked if it, just because of Stidham if it was a blowout for the Patriots? Sure. I mean, whatever. It could happen, but I don't think. I think it could still be a close game, especially with that defense in Denver. The crowd's going to be rocking for sure. I think they helped win that game against the Bills. I think that's what we're going to see against the Patriots.
1,000%.
Hawks and Rams. a lot of people are saying this is the Super Bowl right here.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to necessarily agree either. This is going to be another division slugfest. How about the Hawks having to play 2 division teams in the playoffs? That's pretty crazy, right?
This is true.
So they met the 49ers for the third time. Now they're meeting the Rams for the 3rd time. So it's pretty crazy. As far as the line goes, I do think right now the Seahawks are the better team.
Yeah.
And if you're going to say if they win by a field goal that they cover and they get that spread, I'll take it. Give me 2.5 Hawks.
Okay.
I think the Hawks will win. I don't think it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a close game. I'm not saying the Rams can't win it. I just feel like the Seahawks got so much momentum, and you could say coming off a blowout, maybe they kind of back off a little bit. Maybe they had an easier game, so they're like, okay, we're not gonna
ease up a tad bit. They're gonna be at home.
They ease up, and it's hard to be competitive coming off a game like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're also still playing a division rival, so who knows what you're gonna get. But I'll take the Seahawks. If the Rams win, I'm not going to be surprised or disappointed either. But Seahawks playing great ball right now. That defense is looking really good. So I'm going to take the Seahawks at 2.5, and obviously they win the game.
I like that. You know what? I will flip and say that the Rams are going to win this game.
All right.
I'll go as far as to say I'm going to call my shot right now.
I don't hate it.
Because I think again, safe to say, whoever wins this game, certainly going into the Super Bowl, will be the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Rams will win this game. They will be the favorite going into the Super Bowl, and they will win said Super Bowl. Now, I will reserve the right to actually, we'll talk a lot more about it as we get ready for the actual game in a couple of weeks. But as of right now, I said it last week, it is important to have a quarterback that you trust in these moments. Of course, Seattle trusts Sam Darnold. They have no other choice but to trust Sam Darnold in this moment. But I would think it's safe to say a majority of the fans and those getting ready to talk about this game, getting ready for this game, will say, much like this was Josh Allen's moment, this is Matthew Stafford's moment to not only get your team back to the Super Bowl, but to solidify yourself as every bit of the quarterback that people have been talking about him now for the past 4 or 5 years since he's been in LA. This is a perfect moment to capitalize on that moment. You have the best receivers around you. You have a solid run game around you. Offensive line's okay. But with that okay offensive line against a very physical defense, we'll see that those styles clash, and it's going to be really, really fun.
Absolutely. And I did see Stephen A. Smith say something along the lines of the key factor of the game is going to be Sam Darnold. If he plays like he's been playing Pro Bowl type style, then yes, they will win the game. If he plays we've seen him play bad sometimes, it's going to be a rough game.
Playoffs haven't been that great.
Show up. Show up.
The good moments where in the moments where you need him, I think that he will come through on.
Yeah.
It's the other 99% of the game where could that 99% snowball into an insurmountable lead, considering I think that in the moments where LA will have the ball, they can combat that physical defense with crazy long drives. At the very least, you have Mevis come out there for 3 points.
Seattle's defense is going to have to play against a loaded offense, obviously, so we're going to see how they do that in the playoffs. It's just going to be a great game,
It'll be fun.
And I'm not going to be surprised either way. I'll take the Seahawks, but if the Rams win,
I like it.
Doesn't matter anything to me. That's a hard game to pick right there, honestly, and that's going to be a fun one. And they're saying that's essentially the Super Bowl.
Yes.
We'll see. All right, moving on to UFC, baby. Man, I'm so excited. UFC 324, Gaethje Pimblett. So we got this is a great fight. Obviously, Paddy Pimblett, he knows how to get a crowd going. Conor McGregor style type of guy. Whether you love him or you hate him, people love to watch him. He's one of those guys, it's in the media, just always at the press conferences, like, yeah, man, I got him. Like, this is gonna be all me. Like, I'm gonna knock him out. He's great. He's fun to watch. And Gaethje also, at the same time, he knows how to scrap. He's got it 100%. But I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, I love Gaethje, but I'm taking Pimblett. I mean, he's just got too much energy. He's younger, also 31, and Gaethje's he's 37, so he's getting towards the end of his time. But we'll see what happens. They got Paddy at 235, minus 235, plus 190. Justin Gaethje. It's going to be a fun fight. Can't wait for that one. What do you got, Alan?
I will say just for the pushback of it, I will take the plus 190 for Justin Gaethje. I think very least this could be a fight that can go the distance. I mean, if not going the distance, then Patty will take care of business. I think in relatively short order. So I'll go for the quote unquote long shot. Justin Gaethje again. Gaethje is no slouch by any stretch, but he is 37. So absolutely, that's always going to be the unfortunate, glaring thing when it comes to these types of matchups here. So I mean, unless you're Anderson Silva, we'll see. And even then, Anderson he did not look the part, past 35. So
for sure.
It'll be interesting.
All right, let's end with our fun question really quick. We got a good one. So the apocalypse or alien invasion is happening. Which athlete are you relying on to lead you to victory in this situation? I'll start. Give me Jameis Winston, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna talk to the aliens or the zombies in his post-game press conference style. He's gonna confuse the heck out of them for one thing. They're like, what's he saying? I don't know what he's saying. But then he's gonna turn around to us and he's gonna say he's gonna be a leader of men. He knows what he's doing. And guess what? At the end of the day, we're gonna be eating some W's. You know what I mean?
I like that.
He's not scared of anything. Give me Jameis Winston.
I will say, and if this is, pardon me if this is a bit of a cop-out, but I do consider the activities of it being rather athletic. I'm going to go into the professional wrestling world for mine.
Oh, okay.
And I will take who I believe is every bit of laying claim to the greatest of all time. Not the greatest retirement match, to say the least, but it was a fun year in change to see the greatest. It's someone who the aliens can literally not see. I'm taking John Cena. I'm taking Peacemaker. I'm taking the Doctor of Thugonomics. I'm taking the 17-time world champion, the never seen 17. I'm taking John Cena. Great on the mic, can galvanize the troops, bring everybody together, and he is still built like he still knows how to throw some hands. I'm taking that.
That's close second for me right
like
there.
That.
Two great answers. If you see this, I'm gonna post this on Instagram, Facebook. If you see this, please comment who would lead you in apocalypse or alien invasion. We got two good answers right there. I'll take John Cena any day. I'll take Jameis Winston any day.
I do like truly, genuinely, I like Jameis Winston. That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
This is going to do numbers, right?
Yes,
right
sir. Yes, sir.
But anyway, Alan, thank you so much, man. That does it for our second episode of Map It Out. We will be back with episode 3 next Wednesday as well. Going to have a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir.
More of the championship games, and then we'll see what happens in those, man. Can't wait for that. But that does it for episode 3 of episode 2. We'll have episode 3 next week.
Yes, sir.
That does it for episode 2 of Map It Out. We're having fun. We're going to do it again. Can't wait for this weekend for the games. Alan, thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week. Thank you, guys.